suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
Wolfman's got Nards!
Hi guys, my name is Barry and welcome back to the channel. The inevitable has happened. There's been an official announcement that Scream 6 is coming out. After the success of Scream 5, and in fact it's still on a successful run at the moment, we knew that there was going to be rumblings of a Scream 6. Now the story itself and the directors didn't plan for a Scream 6. They said that this was just a one-off. For them, it doesn't mean there's not going to be a Scream 6, but for them, they only wrote it and directed it with the intention of this just being a normal, standalone movie. And if they were asked to come back to do a Scream 6, they would certainly do it. However, because the movie was better than expected, and it done better at the box office than expected as well, we were obviously going to get a Scream 6, and today they've announced that yes, there's definitely 100% going to be a Scream 6. For those of you who don't know, I do have a Patreon page. I don't really say this quite often because I don't really dive into it too much, but lately, without me even talking about my Patreon page, I've had quite a few new Patreon subscribers, which is quite rare for me because I only get one every now and again, but I've had quite a lot of traffic lately on my Patreon page, which is fantastic. It is just another way to support the channel. You don't have to do it. I don't beg people to do it, but if you want to join it, you certainly can. All the links are always down below for my Patreon page. One of my new Patreon subscribers, Justin Field, I want to give a shout out to him. He has, I checked out his page and he's got a website as well called The Mind of Justin Field, and he's an author. So I can't believe that I've got people who actually write books that are subscribed to my channel. You know, some people subscribe to my channel because, you know, they just like the content, etc. But a lot of people who subscribe to me know a lot more than I do about things, maybe just don't want to set up a YouTube channel. But Justin himself, he's an actual author and he's got books out there and he sells books. That's how crazy my subscriber base can be. You could have writers, you could have directors, actors, anybody can join anyone's subscription. But again, if you want to join my Patreon, all the links will be down below. But again, thank you, Justin, for being one of my latest Patreon subscribers. Anyway, back on topic, Scream 6 is definitely happening. So this video is mostly about what could we see in Scream 6. Now, obviously, it's too early to predict anything, but the only thing we can do is predict what may happen in Scream 6 based on what happened in Scream 5. Now, this goes without saying, this is going to be a spoiler video. So if you haven't seen Scream 5 and you still don't want to see any spoilers, then obviously don't watch the rest of this video. I think when you look at the negatives in Scream 5, when you want to do a sequel to any movie, you want to look at the negatives from the previous installment and try and either make it better or change things. And I think a lot of the comments that I've been getting with regards to issues with Scream 5 was Dewey's death. How can Amber do that to Dewey with the height of the person? And I know it's just a stuntman and we always go by the height of the stuntman, not the height of the villain, because if you'd done the height of the villain, then you would probably guess who it is. So although it was a stuntman, people do have a problem with the way that Dewey was killed and who he was killed by. Now I know that later on at the end of the movie, Amber basically confirms that she was the one that killed Dewey, and she's probably one of the most unrealistic characters to go ahead and kill Dewey in the manner that she did, with the capabilities that she had to execute that death. That was probably the biggest issue that I had with this film, you know, with the way she killed Dewey. If it was the other way around, and if it was Richie that killed Dewey, because of Richie's height and his strength compared to Amber, it would be more believable, but still not acceptable for me, because Dewey is a legacy character. He needs to be given a death from someone who is a more integral part of the franchise, and that's where I want to go with Scream 6. This could be venturing into the more fan fiction realm of the Scream franchise, but I genuinely hope that we find out that it wasn't Amber that killed Dewey. I hope we find out that it was a third killer, and that killer is Stu Macher. Now hear me out before you start talking about it. If we make it Stu, it would be the perfect killer to have killed Dewey, first of all. We have Amber who's dead, so she can't really explain anything as she gets taken into the police. if Amber survived, she might have said, it wasn't my idea, it wasn't Richie's idea, it was Stu Macher's idea. Now, she lives in Stu Macher's old house, so maybe she moved in there because of Stu. Maybe Stu asked her to move in and pretend that her and her family bought the house, and Stu just wanted to set up a new killing frenzy. Stu himself doesn't know where Sidney Prescott is. He just happens to stumble upon Dewey and Gale, which is good for him, but he really wanted Sidney Prescott. She was the one person that got away in Scream 1. We know that Billy's dead, obviously, but we don't know that Stu is dead. Now, that's where we're going to get to. I have spoken about it before. I believe that Stu could still be alive. At no point in any of the Scream movies did any of the legacy characters or even the side characters mention that Stu Macher is dead. That could be intentional, or it could be just lazy script writing from back in the day, but nobody mentioned that Stu had died. They always mention that Billy's dead, and we obviously see the ghost of Billy in Scream 5, so they always confirm that Billy Loomis is dead, but they never ever confirm that Stu is dead. Yes, they don't really mention Stu in the first few movies or the first few sequels because they feel like Billy was the more significant killer, and it's quite sad for Stu because he was a significant killer, but the fact that they didn't mention him is a bonus for us because they could write that into the script that Stu is still alive. Yes, he gets smacked in the face with an old tube TV, but people can survive worse than just being hit by a TV. It looks like he got electrocuted as well, but we've all had a little electrical shock every now and again. And obviously Stu was supposed to be in Scream 3 before they'd done the rewrites with what happened in real life with the school shootings in the US. So they had to change that up a bit. So Stu was very much part of the plans after Scream 2, but then it got scrapped after Scream 3. So bringing him back for Scream 6 would be a welcome change for me. Bringing back a villain or a killer that really has a motive, and it's not just these random people that's coming in saying, we want to copy this and we want to copy that. That's been the weak points from all the Scream movies after Scream 1, that we're getting random killers, apart from Mrs. Loomis, we're getting random killers that just want to kill people because they want to copy what happened before. Why not give us an original killer? The one that started it all with Billy Loomis. That would be the best killer for me for Scream 6. Matthew Lillard, who played Stu as well, he's not one to shy away from this idea. He always puts it on Twitter saying, who thinks Stu should be coming back? Who thinks Stu is alive? Do you think I should come back and play Stu again? He even done a video with Skeet Ulrich and says, no, how do we know that Stu's not still alive? So he's always putting little hints out there. I don't think he's been told by the studios that Stu is definitely coming back, but I think they've had a discussion because he did go, and Jamie Kennedy said this, the guy who played Randy, he said that he met up with Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich when they went to see the guys who were making Scream 5 because they were doing some voiceover work, etc. And obviously Skeet Ulrich played a part in Scream 5. He mentioned that they all met with the producers and spoke about their roles for Scream 5. So who's to say that they didn't say to Matthew Lillard, can you come back a minute? After the other two went away and said, listen, we want you to be coming back for Scream 6 if Scream 5 is successful. So I think all the tools are there. All we need now is the producers and the directors to get their heads together and go, it makes sense, let's make Stu maybe not the only killer in Scream 6, but make him one of the killers in Scream 6. We also run the risk of having that fact that Stu being revealed as the killer in Scream 6 could make us all go, oh, we knew that was going to happen anyway, because that's the one thing that we're all predicting. Yes, that might be predictable if it happens, but also surprisingly well done if it happens. But at the same time, having a second killer is also fun, because we can always hope that Stu's one of the killers, but always have to try and guess who that second killer is. Now, we haven't even touched on Kirby coming back. Now, it's confirmed that Kirby survived Scream 4 because of what happened in Scream 5. We saw the little YouTube article with Kirby surviving. She's done an interview. So that was just there for fan service. And if we didn't have a Scream 6, all the fans of Kirby would rest easy going, yep, we know that Kirby survived. And even if she doesn't make it into any other Scream movies, we still know she survived. That could happen in Scream 6 as well. We might never see her again, but at least we know that Kirby did survive. But at the same time, we have potential to have Kirby back again. I don't think she will be or should be the next killer. That would be ridiculous. But I think if you want to give the mantle to someone else other than Sidney Prescott, I think Kirby's probably one of those characters that you could give that mantle to. We hear that Neve Campbell's been one of the first people that they're going to approach to reprise her role as Sidney Prescott, understandably, in Scream 6. How much of a role she's going to have in this one is anyone's guess, but I'm also guessing that maybe we will see the end of the legacy characters once and for all, whether that be kill off Gail or kill off Sidney, or maybe kill off both of them, or if they want to both survive and just run off into the sunset, that's fine with me as well. But I think in Scream 6, if Sidney does appear, I think this is the one where they're going to hand over the torch this time, not to the villains or the killers, but to the actual survivors. So I think if Sidney is in this one, and if Kirby is in this one, this is the point where they could and should pass that mantle over to Kirby. It would also feel weird having this new trilogy, because you'd have Scream 4 wedged between the first Scream trilogy and the second Scream trilogy, if they do a Scream 7 that is. But if you have Kirby in this one, because we already had we already had Deputy Judy in Scream 5, so if you bring back Kirby for Scream 6, you could mesh in a semi-trilogy with Scream 4, 5 and 6. So that's my thoughts so far, guys. It is very early days, of course, but my idea is to bring Stu back as one of the killers, bring Kirby back as one of these new characters that's going to be a legacy character moving forward to replace Sidney Prescott. The storyline itself, no idea yet. I still need to find out other things that may happen, but character-wise, I'm hoping that we get Kirby and Stu back so that we can move the franchise forward, and also put the old franchise to bed, the old storyline of the franchise. Is Stu still alive? Is he dead? Bring him back and kill him off once and for all, and that would put the stories to bed that Stu's finally dead. So what are your thoughts, guys? Do you want to see Kirby back? Do you want to see Stu come back? Do you want to see the end of Sidney Prescott, etc, etc? Leave your comments down below, let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.